Action continues on the Ricardo Tormo circuit here in Valencia. The second round of the Junior GP World Championship is here, and it is the second race for that same class, the main class in this paddock. The Valencia circuit is 4 kilometres in length, and it's on a small bit of land, but somehow a lot of track is fitted in to a small amount of space. Overtaking hotspots at turn 1, 2, 4, 8, and probably the last corner. 14 of them, 9 of which are left. The other 5 are right-handers, and 900 metres straight offers plenty of slipstream. Kiko Giles and Steve English still here, taking you into the second half of today's action. The 4th race on the billing, the Junior GP race, race 2. Race 1 was a belter. We'll catch that up in a minute, but Steve, so far, brilliant action here today in Valencia. It's exactly what we thought it'd be.
Yeah, it's exactly what we expected coming into round 2 of the season, and certainly for the Moto 3 class, this is their chance to shine. This is where they get the double header weekend. Obviously in a season like this, you tend to have some rounds with the 2 races, other rounds where you're only having 1 chance out on track. Estoril was a tough one for the Moto 3 riders. You've had the winter off, some of them racing obviously in the Red Bull Rookies Cup, but you have the winter off and then you're into 1 race. Now you get the double header. Let's see who's able to make progress into race 2, who's able to bring the fight to this man, Angel Piqueras. Angel looked really good in race 1, very relaxed afterwards as well. He's an impressive rider.
This was race 1. A fantastic launch from poleman Joel Esteban, rookie, of course, in the class this year. And in just his second round, he was already at the head of the grid. And he had to fight off Angel Piqueras. Piqueras was looking so good throughout the race. He was very, very on form, it must be said. He looked like one of the riders this year who's made a clear step in comparison to last. 3rd place in the early part of the race was Nico Carraro, who was the championship leader back then. And he had an absolute ball. It was these 3 at the front. Carraro soon picked up a long lap penalty, mind, whilst at half race distance, Piqueras was the one making a move into the lead. However, it didn't look like he really wanted to lead. It was just a bit of a dress rehearsal for later in the race, but Carraro bounced nonetheless as he made it an Aswell Junior Team 1-2, albeit momentarily. Piqueras back into second where he looked so comfortable. And as I said, a long lap penalty needed to be served by Carraro, which he did so, but it put him back in the battle for 4th, which now was the battle for 3rd, and drama was coming. Luca Lunetta was in there, Jacob Rulston had a bit at the front, David Almanza was there as well as his teammate Marcos Ruda. More on that in a moment, oh dear. On the last lap, Piqueras hit the lead from Joel Esteban, and this time he did want to keep it, whilst that was the accident with Almanza and Ruda. Despite Esteban's best efforts at the last corner and on the run to the line, he couldn't topple Piqueras. Piqueras, his 4 podiums previous, he made it 5 and at last became a race winner. The 50th different race winner in the class since 2012, the 99th since 1998. We're on for a 100th different winner. Can we get it? Race 2, Junior GP, Valencia is just around the corner. The drama levels will be exactly the same. And here we are, back live, trackside. That's the Angel Piqueras fan club. We was behind them on the way in this morning, Steve. There's quite a few of them, and they'll be happy after race 1.
Yeah, they'll be very happy. Obviously, for Piqueras, a local rider as well from the Valencia region, so he knows this place well, and he's been able to ride really well all weekend. He looks very comfortable out there. He's only turned 16 relatively recently, so he's still quite young for riders now in the Moto 3 Junior World Championship. And it is going to be a case of for him just building that experience until he's ready and the right age to move up to the World Championship. He's got the talent for it. He's got a good team around him. And now it is a case of just trying to make sure you're able to get the results that you need.
I hope that's not your flight back to Dublin, by the way, Steve. If so, you might have missed it.
Oh, I'm not on a Vueling flight. I fly fancy, so the PJ will leave later on. But certainly for a lot of these riders, they're just trying to chase down the likes of Piqueras at the front of the field. Moto 3 this year, very different to what we've seen at different times in the past. It's probably not as deep a field as what we saw in previous seasons, just because of what we talked about during the European Talent Cup race. Riders now with the minimum age limit having to stay in the ETC a bit longer. But the good riders at the front of the field, they're always good in the Moto 3 class.
So race 2 then, let's go through your grid. This is the 125th different race with Moto3 machinery in the Junior GP class, so it's a bit of a milestone race. Joel Esteban yet to win, and as I said a few times now, he could be the 100th different winner since the inauguration of this championship. So close yet so far in race 1 though.
Yeah, and for Joel, very impressive in race 1 as well. We saw him at the front of the field for most of that race, able to come away with second place. Just wasn't able to get through on the last lap into the last corner on Piqueras, but he's up against a rider that's got a lot of experience, knew where to put his bike, and Piqueras rode the perfect last lap.
Piqueras, a smart finish. Lovely to see that British flag umbrella. Love it. Thank you very much. Where do I buy one? Second on the grid, we're going to get to Piqueras now. Finally, a race winner. The Valencian rider. He's done it at home as well. 5 podiums in his career now. Those stats that you see at the bottom of your screen are actually this year's results, I believe. So Estoril, obviously a podium there, and another podium here. That's 2. The podium was a win, so that's 1 win. Piqueras, can he do the double?
He certainly can. We've seen it in the Red Bull Rookies Cup so far this season. A very strong start to the year. 5 wins out of 6. Lost the other race by less than 1/10 of a second. So he's been perfect all the way through this campaign so far. And finally able to get the monkey off his back for a Junior GP race victory. But it's the first of many this season, you'd imagine.
Luca Lunetto on the front row for the 2nd consecutive Valencian round. He was there in the front row last time out as well at the end of last year. 4th and 3rd. By that reckoning, he will be 2nd in that race, in the next race. If only it was that easy. But he is, if they can get away with the front group, a potential race winner, Steve.
Yeah, he had a couple of podiums in the Italian Moto3 Championship as well so far this season. Podium in this morning's race. He's just been able to steadily keep himself in that top 5 through the course of this season. He's qualified well. He's made good steps with that. That's what you need to do in Moto3.
Championship leader coming into this round, Nico Carraro, is now 2nd in the championship, 5th in the first race after that long lap penalty. You get the feeling if he doesn't exceed track limits this time and he doesn't pick up that long lap penalty, he is going to be in that lead group. He bridged the gap pretty seamlessly in race 1.
Yeah, looked very comfortable in race 1 as well. Nico's made a big step forward into this season. He's got a lot of experience now in the Moto3 classes, and he's been able to put it to good use at this stage. He's one of the oldest riders in the field at 21, and that brings with it the pressure to perform, but he's been able to really step up.
Next up is David Almanza. Now, he had a little bit of a contretemps with his teammate in the gravel trap earlier in race 1. Those two took each other out on the last lap, and that is 2-0. Point score finishes for Almanza. He needs a result, Steve, and quick.
Yeah, he really does. And certainly for Almanza, he's a rider that everyone took note of in the World Championship in Argentina. But here in the Junior GP paddock, he hasn't really had the results to back up what we saw in Argentina in the World Championship. Obviously, some of that comes down to teams and situations and different sets of circumstances. But now the 22 really needs to get those results.
One consolation for him is the last race he finished was here, and he won. And even then he crashed out of the lead. It went back to count back. So Almanza, he's got the pace. It's whether or not he can capitalise on it. One person who capitalised on pace was this man, Jacob Ralston. Starts 6th on the grid, and it was looking like a first podium for himself in this Junior GP class. He'll be looking to repeat that. He's a good team.
Yeah, he had a podium in the Red Bull Rookies Cup already this season, a couple of rounds ago in Jerez, and now it's about trying to make sure he's able to get his first Moto3 podium. But he's a rider with a lot of track time this year from the Rookies Cup and then also from the Junior GP classes.
Alessandro Morossi there in 7th place on the grid this time around. Best result of the year in race 1 in 6th place. He is 8th overall in the standings with 15 points. What can we expect from here, from this race from Morossi?
Well, from Morossi, what we saw in the opening race today was a top 6 finish. We saw as well in the Italian Championship, he jumped into a wild card at Mugello a few rounds ago. He qualified in the second row with the grid, came away with a podium and a top 6 finish. If he's able to do that again in this race, then it's really job done. That's what he needs to do in the Moto3 class this year. Just show the consistency to be able to get yourself up into the top 10 all the way through the season and as many top 5s as possible.
8th place track specialist. We kept an eye on him in the opening race. Marcos Ruda didn't end too well. In fact, it didn't end too well at all for that team. He and teammate Almanza taking each other out. They'll definitely be hoping to avoid that this time around.
Yeah, he's still chasing his first podium in the Moto3 class here, but he has had a top 5 finish, and that has to be the goal once again going forward for him.
In 9th place, we expect to see Facundo Yambias. That was Colin Vire, who you just saw on the screen. Of course, he nearly took a race win here last year on the run to the line in what was the closest ever finish in a Junior GP class race. That was the penultimate race of last year. This is Facundo Yambias, the Uruguayan rider. 9th on the grid. Had a bit of a struggle in the opening race. He was in that second group and then finished down in 14th. We know he can do better than that, though.
Yeah, I think for Gamias, the goal is this season to be able to get his first top 5 finish. He's been able to get top 10 finishes, but making that next step is a big challenge. And the Uruguayan, he's got speed, but it's about trying to put it all together, and we're still really waiting for him to put it all together.
10th place on the grid is Elia Bartolini. He will need to be a little bit better than where he was earlier on. And today he was down in 8th place, and actually the next Honda rider after your winner, Angel Picara. So the Honda's not working too well here in Valencia, but we know Bartolini's got great World Championship experience, and he'll be looking to capitalise on that in this race.
Yeah, Elio also went back to racing the Italian Championship in Mugello, one of the many riders that have turned up for a wild card in Italy this season. He was able to pick up a race victory in Mugello as well. So he's been able to put something together already this season. Now, though, in the Moto3 Junior World Championship, this is where he really needs to shine.
Alvaro Carpe, he actually crossed the line 3rd at Estoril, but was later disqualified for a transgression with weight. So he's got potential. We know that. He is down in 11th place, so keep an eye on the La Galicia Racing number 83. But your poleman is Joel Esteban. Can he convert it to become the 100th different winner since the inauguration of the championship? The 4th race on the billing card today sees Joel Esteban go from pole once again. Race 1 winner Angel Piqueras goes from the middle of the front row. Luca Lanetta goes from 3rd. Nico Carraro, 4th, was your championship leader coming into this event. He'll look to try and grab it back. He goes from the head of the 2nd row. Britain's Eddie O'Shea was next up after Alvaro Carpe. He'll look to go from 12th and seeks a better result than he had in the opening race when he was 11th. Can he get the top 10? Kiko Giles and Steve English here taking you through the action here in Valencia. We are trackside at the Circuit Ricardo Tormo, the 4th race of 6 on the billing today. Steve, it's going to be a belter again.
Yeah, 17-lap race for these Moto3 riders. The riders to keep an eye on are our pole setter there, Joel Esteban. Angel Piqueras, our race winner this morning on the number 18 machine. He lines up in the middle of the front row of the grid. But we did see quite a few riders able to get themselves into a bit of a scrap, including this man, Nico Carrera. He was the race winner at the opening race of the year in Estoril, and now for him it's about trying to make sure he's a clean run through in this race, doesn't have a long lap penalty, because he's got the pace to be at the front.
Just want to talk about one other rider who came racing through earlier. It was Cormac Buchanan, the New Zealander on the AGR team, finished up in 9th place overall. 7th place overall. Best result ever in Junior GP racing. So keep an eye out. He is coming down, coming off the 6th row of the grid, so down in 18th place. Steve, on the warm-up lap, what are we looking out for here?
Well, just to go back to Cormac as well, he's had his first top 5 finish in the Red Bull Rookies Cup as well recently at Le Mans, so he's got good confidence going forward, and that's really what makes the difference in the Moto3 class, and that's one of the things to keep an eye out for in the course of a season for here in Junior GP. Who's got their tail up, who's got the momentum, and then who's got a chance to be able to spring a surprise. You're always going to see the same riders at the front of the field through the course of this season. This man, Angel Piqueras, he's always going to be there. He's very fast. He's on course to win and dominate the Red Bull Rookies Cup this year as well. He's had 5 wins out of 6, so he's in great form, and he wants to just maintain that momentum. He's looked at recent years with the likes of Jose Antonio Rueda, able to double up last year in Junior GP in the Red Bull Rookies Cup. That's the goal for him this season.
And what about these guys? They had the race earlier on and it was a little bit cooler. Joel Esteban just doing a little bit of a long lap there. That's interesting. Of course, he had a track limits warning in race 1, but they had a race earlier. Track conditions a little bit different now. How do these guys approach that as well?
It doesn't really affect the Moto3 bikes that much. It affects the bigger bikes more. So if you had super bikes or Moto2 class bikes, like what we just saw on track just before this race, that would be affected much more by the higher track temperatures. This is just a bit of a test for the riders as much as anything else. You've got to deal with your emotions for 2 starts to try and make sure that you're able to get good results in both of them.
Can I grab a last-minute prediction, Steve? Who's it going to be?
Piqueras.
Oh, very direct to the point now. I'll go different. I'll go Esteban because we want the 100th different winner, don't we? Like I say, this class has produced countless champions, have gone on to world champions and world championships in the top class.
If I'm looking for an outsider, though, Marcus Ruda on the 69, he's the guy to keep an eye out for.
Great shout. Let's see what Eddie O'Shea can do as well. The Brit will go from the back of row 4, but this is it. Race 2. Junior GP, lights on. Held for a long, long time. Oh, we've got jump starts further back there, Weiler.
We're going to have this delayed, and we'll be able to get going. And you can see for all the riders on the grid that they were held for a very long time there. We saw Detweiler and one other rider go as well.
Uchiumi on the MTA Junior team, number 91.
It's very, very easy to go as well whenever you see someone else creeping in front of you as well. So the field's going to be set away now again. They'll do another siding lap to the grid, and then we'll probably be able to get on the way. It looks like we're actually going to have a longer delay than that as we delay the start of this race. And certainly now for the teams and the riders, there's a little bit to do now to keep their riders cool and calm out there on the grid. What
we should see here is an aborted start. They'll get the team and personnel back on the grid. I don't really know what happened there. We was held for a long time. That'll be funny on watching that back as we're about to detonate ourselves for the race start. But this will be, I imagine there'll be at least one lap shorter, but the team should be able to come on. They'll send them off on another lap, but I'm not really sure they're holding them here. Yeah, you might be sent into pit lane as well. It just looks like there's been a failure there with the lights to go out. So race direction will have to get that sorted. And you could well have it where everyone's sent into pit lane. They may not actually be held on the grid. Just depends on what the situation is for race direction and when they're going to be able to make a decision about what to do. One of the starter motors was just coming out there. That was for the Aspar Juniors. Oh, there's a few more coming out now. So everyone's coming back onto the grid. We should have, it won't be a quick, someone's dropped, oh dear, someone dropped something there. What we should have, it's not the quick restart procedure. It'll be full restart, probably minus a lap, Steve. It'll just come down to what race direction decide to do. You'd imagine these two riders will probably be given a pit lane start or some other penalty like that. But if it's been an issue like that with the lights, they might well be able to win a case and be able to take up their grid slots. But it's not ideal for anyone out there. The only thing is, and we've seen it before at places like Misano lots of times, of course, that sometimes the lights flicker, and that might have been another thing. Obviously, I didn't see them flicker at all, but you know, some riders see that and maybe one goes and the other one follows suit. So it'll be interesting to see if we can get some word down there to see actually what did happen. It was just that the lights were held on for so long for the riders there. You can see there, though, they have now gone off, so that should mean that we have a pretty quick procedure to get ourselves back underway. And then we'll just wait for what race direction decide to do in terms of distances and what they do to get ready again for this. Race delayed due to technical problem. That's what we've just had on our screens up here. Should just say a bit of housekeeping. Angus Grenfell on the art box machine is not taking part in this. I think he had a small incident earlier on, and it will not be in race 2. But this gives us another chance anyway, Steve, to talk about what we could have expected there. I want to touch on something further down. We just missed it. Xabi Zuratuza, the rider from the Basque country up there in Legazpi, I think, he was given a penalty down in around 26th place, as that's Ramon Forcada, legendary crew chief on screen there. He's working with the Finetwork side of things, but Zuratuza came through the order pretty well earlier, and he's now back in his original starting position, just outside the top 12. He's 13th and head of row 5. So what can we? Maybe he could be a feature up towards that battle for the top 6. Yeah, Zuratuza over the course of the last few years, whether it's in the European Talent Cup or in the Junior GP classes, has been a rider worth keeping an eye on. And certainly he'll think that he's going to have an opportunity in this race to get himself up there into the top 5 and then see if you're able to keep yourself in the battle and come away with a chance of a podium. But during the course of this season, expect to see the number 85 able to get himself to the front. He's got speed, he's got a bit of experience now in the Moto3 bikes, and it's up to him to really make that
that step to being that regular front runner. But it does take time to win in this class. We saw that with Piqueras. It was only today that he was able to claim his first race victory in the class, despite having so many strong performances in the past.
Piqueras, of course, 4 podiums before his victory, and the 5th podium came this morning. And sometimes it's a case of floodgates open kind of thing. One win can lead to another, to another, to another. And it wouldn't be a big surprise to see Piqueras do that.
No, not at all. He's a rider that's been able to win 5 out of 6 races in the Rookies Cup, so you'd certainly think that he's going to do something similar as well. You could see there down in pit lane as well, Furcada just chatting to some of the Talent Cup team members, and they're now just figuring out what the situation's going to be, and everyone's a little bit unsure of it down there. We did see the 3-minute board flashing there on the pit straight, so hopefully that means that we're underway in 3 minutes. Our lap counter is now down to 16 laps, so they've taken away a lap, and that should be everything we need. It'll be a case of going straight from the start and then back to the grid. It won't have to be the quick restart procedure where someone checks your bike on the grid.
Yeah, this should be a more or less a replica start of how we had. Just hopefully this time the lights go out. I remind you of the order. Joel Esteban, Angel Piqueras and Luca Lanetta making up the front row. Carraro, Almanza, Rulston, the second one. Morossi, Ruda, Yambias and Bartolini completing the top 10. Then it is Carpe and Eddie O'Shea that complete the 4th row. Further down, Zuratuza, Adrian Cruces. Now, Cruces will be looking to improve on that. Down in 14th, he's got good pace, as Cruces, and will for sure be keen to improve on that. Further down the order, Shinya Ezawa on the Asia Talent team. Noah Detweiler, he was one of the riders who went earlier in the original start. Cormac Buchanan, one of my riders to watch. Tachikon Boazri, of course, a race winner in this class. And then Kataro Uchiumi, another rider who went earlier as well. Torin Collins, Cesare Tiezzi, Leo Ramersdorfer, Alessio Matai, Alex Gordon and Jeffrey Emmanuel, the 26 riders on the grid. And as I said before, no Angus Grenfell on the art box. He will not start this race. And as Steve said, it's down to 16 laps. After this delay, what are the riders going through? So the team try to relax them now and it just start again.
Yeah, just start again, go for it once again and see if you're able to just make a good start, and that's what the focus is going to be on all these riders, just to make sure that they're able to get an opportunity to be able to come away with something from this race. And certainly at the front of the field, it's about making a clean start. It's about giving yourself the best opportunity. If you're coming from further down the order, you know that there's ground to be made up, and we've been able to see already so far this weekend, plenty of times riders have been able to come from further down the order, but you need to be able to make quick progress. That's where someone like Noah Detweiler is going to be worth keeping an eye on, because Noah's pace all the way through this weekend has actually been very impressive. He just hasn't really been able to put it all together just yet. But the number 55, after 3 long lap penalties in the opening race of the day, he could be a rider that's going to have an opportunity to get himself up into that lead battle.
3 long lap penalties, and of course that extra lap he's just done at the end of the first start. He's done more laps around Valencia non-racing than he has actually racing, so not good for Detweiler, but as we say, his pace is good. Piqueras, Carraro, Lanetta, Esteban, the top 4 in the standings, all covered by just 19 points, so it can totally turn on its head depending on what result we get here today. If you're just joining us, Kiko Giles and Steve English taking you through the action. This is the 4th race of the day, and like in that first warm-up lap we had, Joel Esteban doing a long lap penalty, just getting to see how it is, how dirty it is out there, if he needs to serve one in the race.
Yeah, confident of needing that little bit of extra experience there, but wary of it, given that he had to take a penalty in the opening race of the weekend. And certainly for Joel Esteban, he'll know that this is a chance for him to be able to come away with some decent points-paying finishes and be able to give himself a chance of being able to add to the podium in race 1 with a race victory in this afternoon's race. Definitely one of the riders that knows that this could be his chance to shine.
I'll give you a chance. You want to deviate from your original prediction of Piqueras, Steve?
I'm full of confidence in the local man. I think Angel Piqueras, he is the rider to beat. He's comfortable out there, he's very confident, and he looks so cool, calm and collected in race 1. He's the man to beat.
Right, let's see if we can get it right this time. Lights will come on, and when they go out, race 2 is going. They didn't hold him a long time, that's for sure. Piqueras has got an absolute fly from the middle of the front row. Joel Esteban, your poleman, looked like he was caught napping a little bit as they all jockey for position. Linetta has come through into second. Almanza making amends up the inside into third. Poleman, Esteban back to fourth. Riders running out everywhere. Carrara and Ralston, the other two Aspar Junior team bikes, and 2 of them. Down into the second turn, going for first. Linetta takes it and grabs it. Almanza trying to come through as well, and does. So Almanza's through into second place. Looking for third place is Esteban. He gets it, shoves Piqueras out. Ralston looking to get in on the action as well, but we're all through cleanly as they come through turn 5. We're coming up towards turn 6 now, but a 58 is out front of Luca Linetta. What a great start that is from third on the grid, and pushing and shoving. Who was that coming up the inside? That looked like the 23 of Elia Bartolini. I think it was, Steve.
Yeah, everyone cutting each other up through here. We saw Gambias on the number 94 machine getting pushed out onto the green paint as well. Everyone just trying to elbow their way around.
Shit.
That looked like it might have been Gambias there, just getting sat out of his seat a little bit.
Never mind him being sat out of his seat. I was out the seat up here in commentary. Almanza leads. David Almanza, we said he needed a result. If it stays like this, which 16 laps to go, we dream. No, never. Almanza leads ahead of Esteban. Then it's Piqueras. Then it is Bartolini, who has come up from 10th on the grid. It's a fantastic start from Elia Bartolini, I must say. Good job there. But out front, Almanza. Is that all Ralston coming through? Linetta was leading this race at turn, so he's now back into 6th.
Yeah, and you can see here with the number 23 of Bartolini, he's got an opportunity now to try and move himself up into the top 3 spots as well. Great opening lap for him as the 2 Australia Galicia bikes come through to try and hit the front.
4 abreast. There's got 2 Hondas in this lead group. We didn't have that earlier. We didn't really have a lead group earlier. But Esteban and Piqueras, the 2 that separated everything earlier on, are now at the front as Ralston gets it sideways. Almanza, this is a disaster really now. If you consider he was leading this a lap ago on the opening lap, he does not. Whoa! Teammates, I don't think so. Sliding on through. Elia Bartolini takes no prisoners. He feels like he's in for a result here today, and he just cuts up his teammate. There'll be words after that, I'm sure. Bartolini second.
That's the racing you get in the run down in towards turn 4, but for Piqueras, he now knows where he stands in this one as well, and if he's given a chance to come through, he's going to come through.
Yeah, I think his teammate's about to know where he is in the pecking order. He might not even be pecking in a minute. Throughout the inside comes Piqueras, that's up into second. Bartolini shuffled back to third. Ralston's got Carraro. It is Aspar Junior team versus Australia Galicia team. That's your front 5. Then there's the gap back to Luca Linetta, who was your early race leader. But David Almanza, who... Where's Almanza gone? Where has David Almanza gone? Has he... Oh dear. We said that David Almanza could have done with a result, and I think it's resulted in the end of the race. And in fact, I think we've lost a few riders. Down the order, Almanza, Morossi, Buchanan and Bouazwi are all tumbling.
Yeah, it does look like that lead group just lost quite a few of those expected runners at the front of the field. So we'll wait and see if we get a replay of what happened. But you can see why there's a big gap that's developed there back to Ruda and Linetta. And then behind that, the next group as well. So it's certainly a case of those 4 riders have all been involved in an instant together, and it has split the pack.
That is a shame for David Almanza, a great shame. That he could have been really on for a strong rider. We haven't seen anything. Nothing's come up on our timing monitor. We can only assume. Hopefully everyone's okay. Back at the front, Joel Esteban is the rider who's looking good so far. Here's one of the riders. Yeah, they've all been involved in the same incident. That's Alessandro Morossi. And walking away, I'm not quite sure. I can't quite pick out who that was walking away.
Well, you got Buchanan down there and Bouasri as well.
There's Almanza.
And there's Almanza. And it looks like it's down to turn 4.
Well, turn 4, it was, oh dear, that's Buchanan's bike. parked neatly. Oh, wide at the front. Esteban gives himself a bit of a shake, and Ralston comes through on the inside of turn 9.
But look at Bartolini as well, comes through, and suddenly Joel Esteban goes from the lead to 4th in 2 corners as he gets cut right up, and the number 10 of Carrera is going to have a look at him as well.
We said that crash was at turn 4, by the way. That is where Bartolini absolutely pushed and shoved his teammate out the way. So turn 4, an overtaking and a crashing hotspot at this circuit. Let's get back to the front. Ralston fending off Bartolini. This is a great ride from Jacob Ralston. We did not expect this.
Yeah, Bartolini's pretty happy as well, just to try and run around the outside into that last corner too. So he's got a lot of confidence in his bike right now.
Ralston in the slipstream. Can he get through? Bartolini's picking up a 2-man slipstream. Ralston on the brakes. That is an absolute dive bomb if ever I've seen one. He's through on the inside, down into towards turn 1. Jacob Ralston, he's got an ETC victory to his name from Estoril a couple of years ago. He's never had a Junior GP podium, let alone a victory. Now he's leading this race ahead of the number 18 of Piqueras. Then it's his teammate Bartolini, who's about to be challenged by the number 7 of that is Esteban, your pole sitter, and in 5th place, championship leader coming into this round, but not this race, Nico Carraro. Then there's the get back to track specialist Marcus Ruder, who's completing your top 6.
Yeah, Ruder about a second behind as well, so needs to just get his head down. He's going to have this scrap going on in front of him, so they are going to cost each other a little bit of lap time. You need to make sure you're in a position to attack.
Coming down towards turn 8, that's one of the overtaking hotspots. This front group just chilled out a little bit now. Ralston, you look to be setting a good pace, 40.6. It's not as fast as it was earlier on in the race, earlier on in race 1. But of course, as well, the track temperature has come up a little bit. Steve, this is the shuffle down towards turn 1.
Yeah, and you can see here for Jacob on the number 12 machine, just gets down the inside. Nice move as well, nice and clean to get down through there. And he's able to hold his line, doesn't cost himself much time to be able to make the move, and also doesn't cost Angel Piqueras time as well. But now for Jacob Ralston.
Oh, someone's down. That is the 93. That is Arbi Aditama, who was having a great ride. Aditama, the Indonesian, has gone down in a big way. That's a strange crash. I wonder if he had a... Oh dear, he's ripped his own visor off there. He's that angry. So Arbi Aditama, he was coming through from pretty far down as well. That is a great shame for one of the talent team riders.
Yeah, he knew he had a chance of a good result in this one, and just pushed a bit too hard into turn 14. You can have that crash through there where you just try and just break a little bit too hard on the angle and you lose the front, and unfortunately for him, that's going to be the end of that race. And you can see there he was pretty close to what looked like Luca Linetti at the time of the crash as well, but I think it just looks like he just pushed a little bit too hard, trying to come away with a good result.
Yeah, it's a shame for Aditama. His previous best actually came from this circuit. It was a top 10 here last year, and he was on potentially for a top 6 this year. Great shame for Aditama, but he's got the potential, that is for sure. He was coming from so far down. Meanwhile, back at the front. Oh, no, he's not at the front anymore. Dear me, Jacob Ralston has made a mistake, and that is quite a big one there. He's dropped right off this now.
Lost a lot of time there. We've seen riders run off the track there and lose about 7 seconds, so it could have been a lot worse for Jacob, but as it is now, he needs to just make sure he's able to latch on to the back of his teammate and just try and stay in that lead group. But the pace in this race, in the 1:40s at this point, it's about trying to make sure you're able to maintain that and then see if you can force mistakes from other riders. We are seeing it where riders are making mistakes in this race, but it is just a case of trying to just keep chipping away.
Your race leader is the race winner from earlier on. Angel Piqueras looking good so far. He is your race leader ahead of Joel Esteban, who's looking to try and get his first victory in this class in just his 3rd race. He is something special indeed. The 23 is Elia Bartolini. He's come from the 4th row of the grid up inside the top 3 as it stands so far. Then it is the number 10. No, it's not. It's the number 12. It's his teammate Jacob Ralston pushing and shoving out of the way. Nico Carraro, and that 5, they are lapping relatively fast in terms of behind. The only rider who was a bit quicker last time around was Marcus Ruder, but he was only quicker than Jacob Ralston, who made that mistake. Yeah,
and it's still 1.7 seconds that he has to make up. So this is the leading group of 5, and you'd imagine as we move into the second half of the race and in a few laps' time, this is where the battle for the win and the battle for the podium spots is going to come down to. This is a case of just who's able to avoid making the mistakes, keep themselves in contention, And you can see from Piqueras, again, able to hold that tighter line through there at the end of the back straight. That's where his bike's clearly working well.
Yeah, he looks good in towards turn 8. He's looked good in the braking area earlier on, all the way through race 1. And I just wonder now if he's got so much more confidence, he was never lacking in it anyway, that he's really utilising in the areas where he's strong on circuit. I mean, he'll certainly be looking to make a move on Esteban. In fact, we talked earlier, Steve, in race 1, that Esteban looked like he was on the limit, and Piqueras was always looking like he's sandbagging, so to speak.
He's just riding within himself, and he's got that confidence that comes from winning so many races in the Rookies Cup so far this season, and then also the confidence that comes from having just claimed his first Junior GP race victory. So he certainly knows that there's going to be opportunities all the way through this season, and he's just making sure he's in a position to pick them off when they present themselves. But up there in P2 right now, the number 18, he is the favourite coming into this season, and what he's been able to do so far in Estoril and in the opening race of the day here in Valencia, it's done nothing but back up that pre-season form.
Ralston back up into 3rd place now, ahead of Bartolini. Bartolini back to 4th, and soon going to be coming under pressure from fellow countryman Carraro. We're looking at this league group of 5. I'll just take you down towards the battle for 6th place at the moment. Marcos Ruda doing a fantastic job on the sole surviving Finetwork Mir Racing Team machine. 7th place, Luca Lanetta has got his hands full with Alvaro Carpe, but really that group battling in the background there all together. So expect that to chop and change. The gap over 2 seconds, unless these front 5 really start taking lumps out of each other, unlikely that it closes in too much more than that.
Yeah, it is a case of these leading 5 are away, and the battle for the win will come down to them, and then it's just who's able to pick the pieces in the 6th place battle. But we also saw in this morning's race, everything can change in the blink of an eye in the Moto3 class, and suddenly what is a scrap for 6th can suddenly become a scrap for a podium spot.
It could become a scrap for victory if these lots start taking lumps out of each other like Ralston is. It's an Aspar Junior Team 1-2 as he moves on through into 2nd place then. Jacob Ralston for Australia. Wow, we did not anticipate this. Jacob Ralston has really made a step in 2023. He might be making a massive step up to challenge for the race lead. He's letting the brakes off his heart. He had a look. He had a bit of a look there into turn 1. Couldn't pull it down this time around. But Jacob Ralston has got pace here. He's looking for the lead. Jacob Ralston, oh, he nearly tried to block past, couldn't get it done.
Yeah, you do have it where Ralston is right on the limit as well, and he's making sure he's getting himself the opportunities to get back to front. We've already seen him make a mistake, but look at that for a move down in towards turn 4. He's got a lot of confidence in himself right now, and he wants to make sure that when the sun's shining, he's making hay, and he's doing a good job of it right now.
He's doing a great job of it. That was down in towards turn 4, got it rolling from turn 3. Fantastic stuff from Jacob Ralston. Wow, what a result this would be at the moment. It's an Aspar Junior Team 1-2. Esteban's got pressure from Bartolini. Piqueras, as we said earlier, just looks like he's sandbagging a little bit. He's not getting in these battles. There's still 9 laps to go. You can't win the race in the first few laps. You can only lose it.
Yeah, it's not so much sandbagging. It's just keeping his powder dry. He's keeping himself out of trouble. And then when the opportunities present themselves, he'll come through to make his moves. But Piqueras on the 18 does look like the most comfortable rider in this group. Look at the body language of the race leader, Jacob Ralston, on the number 12 machine. He's really moving around on the bike. He's throwing it into the corners. He's got a lot of confidence that this is his chance to win a race, and he's trying to win from the front. So fair play to Jacob. That's what the goal is for him, and he's doing a very good job in the opening half of this race.
Signs of a confident rider as well. How many times do we see it where they just have that one good race and then they start believing, and this could be that race for Ralston. As we've said so many times, the speed is unquestioned, but we did not expect this, and we definitely did not expect to see him leading from the front. It looked like he was a bit wide there, though, as Piqueras picks off Bartolini. Again, that's for 3rd place. And Carraro just watching on in 5th place, making sure that if there are any scraps left for him, he can pick them up.
Yeah, making no mistakes as well. That's the key thing as well for the number 10 machine. As he comes down the inside there, and he's going to pick off 2 riders in one go. He takes his hand off the bar there as well. He knows it was a bit forceful through there, trying to get through on 2 riders. But for Nico, good move to get down the inside of Bartolini. But Bartolini does look very aggressive. He knows that he's got a chance of a good result, and he's trying to make sure that he's there to pounce.
That all started with Piqueras' lunge at turn 4. It shoved Esteban wide. It half opened the door. Here we go, Steve, talk us through it.
Yeah, you can see here from the number 10, he comes from so far back, and then it's at the exact same time that Piqueras has come down the inside of the number 7, Joel Esteban. That's what left Joel out of position there, and the two Aspar riders, they don't want to be involved in an incident with each other, so good riding actually from Nico Carrero to see that in front of him and take the avoiding action.
Yeah, one asks maybe would he have been so evasive if it wasn't his teammate?
I think it's just a situation, though, of Joel being in the wrong place there just because he's been pushed off by another rider, and there isn't much benefit at this stage of the race to having that hard contact with another rider. So for the number 10, Nico Carrero, he just did the right thing, and you'd imagine he might be more willing to push on to another rider if it's from a different team, but so early in the race, it's not really got much benefit.
Piqueras hits the front end with 7 laps to go. Runs it a little bit wide. Ralston will be getting that. He's seen that move done before at turn 2, and he's going to do it again. That's the 3rd time in this race. So Ralston's back.
He's in hot, though.
He's in hot, but I think he's carried the speed, and he's through ahead of Piqueras. Piqueras has been strong into turn 4, but not this time round. It's Carrero. He's going to muscle out Bartolini. That's getting close out on the curbs, but good move there from Carrero. He knows that gap. There's a little bit of a gap just forming now as Piqueras takes a look over his shoulder. Won't want to do that because he's going to lose more ground. He's in second as it is. Ralston's your race leader. Ralston, 2 podiums in Valencia 2 years ago in the European Talent Cup. So he knows what it takes to be successful here. He's doing it on the Junior GP bike.
Yeah, really good stuff from Jacob as well. And you can see, though, once again from Piqueras, able to hold that slightly tighter line through the long left-hander at the end of the back straight, and then into this section he can just seem to put his bike into a few different places compared to the other riders out there, and that's what opens the door to get down the inside there, the race leader Jacob Ralston as well. And now is the time for Piqueras. Try and see if you're able to get your head down, open up a bit of a gap as everyone else starts to fight with one another. Jacob Ralston, big slide there, and now's the time for Piqueras just to put the hammer down.
Can he do it? You've got to think if Piqueras leads in towards turn 1, he's got this not sorted, but that's where the cards start to fall into place. But Slipstream sitting down and buried in behind the bubble. Look at Jacob Ralston. He ain't letting Piqueras get away here. They cross the line, 6 to go. Esteban to the outside. I don't believe he's going to do it from there. Piqueras holds on into turn 1, but we've seen Ralston 3 times in this race make that move at turn 2. Basically from this position. Does he do it again? He has a good look, but thinks better of it this time. That's interesting now, because now Piqueras has got clean track ahead of him, and we saw the pace he had in race 1 earlier today. When that happens, what am I talking about? Because through comes Ralston to undo everything I just said. Piqueras is looking back on the inside, takes it from him. These two are swapping paint, and we're back as a group of 5. It's a 10-wheeler.
Yeah, the reason I said Piqueras might have a chance to open a gap is if the other riders start to fight with each other. As it is, they're fighting with Piqueras at the front, so they're all costing each other time now. But for Piqueras, he looks the most comfortable there. But for Bartolini on the number 23 machine, he looks like the rider that's most willing to put it on the line in this race. For the likes of Jacob Ralston, he knows this is a chance to win this race, so that's why we're seeing him very combative as well, any chance he has. They're all out there trying to fight for themselves, and you might have 3 Aspar bikes, you might have 2 Estrada Galicia bikes, but this is just 5 riders out there thinking about themselves as we move into the final third of the race.
And just off screen as well, down in 6th place. I say down in 6th, over in 6th place. We said keep an eye on Xavi Zuratouza. That is who occupies 6th place, so good stuff there. Jacob Ralston looking on the inside, but thinking better of it there. You can't win the race with 6 laps to go. You can only lose it, and that is what Jake Ralston will be thinking. Very smart rider now as he gets out behind the slipstream. He's going to draft on by if he can, but watch for Bartolini and watch for Esteban. 4-man slipstream. Carrero's good in 5th place at the back. Ralston has a little look. Doesn't do it this time. Will he make the move into turn 2? We'll find out in a minute. As through comes Carpe. That's on Zuratouza for 7th place, because Marcos Ruda has now got ahead into 6th place on this group as they come through down towards turn 2. Lanetta struggling back there at turn 2. He's down in around 10th place, just behind Eddie O'Shea, who's up into 9th.
Well, you see, Kiko, that you can only lose a race at this stage. Don't forget, we're past 2/3 race distance now.
Very good.
So if there was a red flag, it would be full points awarded for a race result. So at this stage, all the riders do know that they have to get to the front of their groups, and that's why Marcus Ruda there on the 69 has hit the front of that secondary group. But you can see here in the battle for the lead, Jacob Rolston.
This is incredible. Those two swapping paint. They're not going to know which fairing's which. They've got so much of each other's bodywork on each other. Rulson back ahead of Piqueras as we cut back to the lead group. 7th is Esteban. Number 7 in 3rd place is Esteban. Then 4th place Bartolini. And Nico Carraro, the smartest one of them all. He's keeping his powder dry and staying out of trouble in 5th. The gap, by the way, back to Marcos Ruda in 6th place is 3.6 seconds. It hasn't changed. This is going to be the battle for the win. Unless, of course, we have late drama, which is never out of the question. As Esteban looks on the inside of Piqueras, but can't get it done. Going to be 4 laps to go across the line, Steve. This is where they start trying to get into position. This is when they start thinking about that last sprint towards...
Ooh! An issue for Joel Esteban.
Esteban,
we saw that Bartolini nearly ran into the back of him, and may well have made contact with the bars there, but Joel Esteban had a problem on the exit of the corner, and he's out of this one.
Esteban, dearie me, made us sit up in the commentary box. That was scary. Thankfully, he's all right. It's a technical problem for Esteban. You don't see that very often in this team, or at all, really, with the gas machine. So we are now 2 versus 2. It is the Aspar Junior team versus the Estrella Galicia team. The bike is still running.
Yeah, but like you can see here with the number 7 machine, he raises his left hand to alert everyone that he's got an issue. But at that stage, Bartolini was already right there, right on the rear wheel, so he did well to avoid the number 7 machine. As it is, it's a big shame for Joel Esteban, but we've got another round in a couple of weeks' time in Jerez, and that's whenever he'll have the chance to try and claim his first race victory of the season.
Nico Terol and David Alonso there looking on in the garage. That will be a disaster for them, and they've still got 2 riders in their team that are well in with a shout of taking victory in this race. So 5 become 4. Rulston doing a fine job.
Yeah, I just like Bartolini in this battle though, because he's so willing to make moves. We've got 3 laps to go when they come across the line. Jacob Ralston's done a very good job of consistently being able to hit the front, but it does look like Piqueras is able to hold the tighter lines where he has to and give himself opportunities. 3 laps to go, that's what it comes down to. Who's got that little bit underneath them that they haven't shown just yet?
You could see there Bartolini trying to go the long way around Carraro, not able to do so. Piqueras has gone the long way around long way around Jacob Ralston and has made it stick. That's incredible stuff there from Piqueras. That Honda's not slow in a straight line.
It certainly isn't, and Piqueras has been able to defend that position into turn 1 as well. He hasn't been able to defend it into turn 2 too often through the course of this race, but it is that top speed making a big difference for the number 18. Down that start-finish straight, just seems that he's able to have that little bit of an edge.
Through comes Carraro, that's up into 2nd place. He knows the pace that Piqueras has got. He won't want to see Piqueras get away. This is not smart riding. You two have got to pack that in. Jacob Ralston cost his teammate Carraro there a bit of time, and there was a shake of the head by the Italian as well. So Ralston still believes, rightly so, that he's got potential in this race to win. Whether or not he's pushing and shoving around his teammate too much, because that group is starting to splinter a little bit now, as Piqueras has a 1/4 of a second lead over Ralston. 2.5 laps to go now. It's not over.
It's still very much a leading group of 4 here, and you can see that Angel Piqueras has been able to get to the front, but he hasn't been able to really take advantage of the big fight. You can see here the move for 2nd position, and down the inside came Jacob Ralston, and you can understand Carrera being a little bit frustrated about that, because earlier in the race he made sure not to run out wide towards his teammate, and he hasn't had that favourite return. But you're down into the last 2.5 laps of a race. This is when it comes down to winning the race, and that's what Jacob Ralston is thinking about.
Asking for the power there was Piqueras. He just got it lit up as they come across the line. Penultimate lap time as they come through now. Carraro, the number 10 on your far left of picture, is going to look to go the long way round on his teammate. He can't do that. Bartolini looking on the inside as well.
The top speed, though, for Piqueras in the 18 is impressive. With those gas bikes using the slipstream, they're still not able to come through on him down in towards turn 1.
The cat at turn 2, though, we've seen it so many times. I make that the 4th time now for Ralston. He's back as your race leader.
But this is a key place for Piqueras as well, because you can see with the other gas coming down the inside. For Piqueras, though, if he's second going into that last lap, he should be able to use the slipstream to attack into turn 1. If you attack into turn 1 and come through, you take the line away from the other rider, the momentum away for the run towards turn 2. So I think for Piqueras, he needs to make sure he's able to hold on to this position in second, leading into that last lap. That could be the difference.
I can't believe we're talking strategy in a Junior GP race. It's incredible. But now we have got a lap and a half to go. They are at turn 8. They will gas it up now through here. This is the left-right flick of turn 9 and 10. Then it's an overtaken spot if you want to launch out the inside at turn 11. Not this time around though, but it's so close.
Bartolini into the last corner. Will he try that wide line again? You can see that number 10 of Carrera with big look over his shoulder, wants to see who's there with him. He knows it's only this group before. Bartolini we've seen very wide through the last corner at times during this race. Will he use that to try and set something up into the last corner for the last lap?
Incredible, really. Piqueras defending very well from Carrara, but he's got to be careful not to cost himself the exit. He hasn't really. He's looking good. We are going on to the last lap now, and Jacob Ralston is just 4 kilometres between himself and the first victory of his career in the Junior GP class. Angel Piqueras is thinking otherwise. His teammate thinks otherwise. Carrara through. Ralston lets the brakes off. Piqueras is forced out by both of them, and he's going to have friendly fire from his teammate as well. Then Bartolini, the number 23. But Carrara is leading this at the moment. It's an Aspar Junior team 1-2, and Piqueras is now 3rd, Steve. He wouldn't have planned this in.
And you're going to see down in towards turn 4, Ralston not close enough, but now for Piqueras, he's running out of time now to try and make moves. He's strong into the end of the back straight, though, that left-hander at the end of the back straight. He can hold the tight line. He's going to need to come through and Ralston into there to then give himself a chance into the last corner on the last lap.
Turn 6, nothing changes there. This is the right. Whoa, was Carrara out on the green now? I thought he got a little bit close to it, that's for sure. Jacob Ralston won't want to put it in the hands of race direction anyway. He's going to want to come through. Now, this is interesting. We've got a sector and a half to go. We've got teammates versus teammates everywhere. Piqueras is trying to go up, over, or round Ralston. He'll go under him. Oh, 2 in 1. Are you sure? There was contact. Piqueras ruthless in the final sector. Oh, dear me. We've got 2 riders down.
Yeah,
Bartolini and Carrara have gone down as we come through. Yes, they have, and Ralston is going to be second here. Ralston's held on. I tell you what, in 3rd place, Alvaro Carpe is going to be surely on the run to the line, but it's going to be. He waited so long for that first victory. Angel Piqueras is doubling up in Valencia. He's done a double at home. Piqueras from Jacob Ralston, and then slipstream button to the line. Alvaro Carpe holds on and will hopefully this time take it all the way to the podium. Carpe 3rd, Steve. What a last lap.
Yeah, we'll wait and see what the replay is for Piqueras down into the double apex right-hander, because he certainly looked like he might have given a bit of a helping hand to the riders around him. But Piqueras, he knew he had to come through. He was able to do that in the last lap. He's able to take this win, doubles up on the day. But I think that from the first viewing of that, it certainly comes from so far back that the other riders involved in it, especially Carrero, might well feel that he's been hard done by. Let's have a look.
Yeah, he's up the inside. I think is Bartolini.
It's a separate incident there, really. So it's definitely the 23 there just sees an opportunity to come through and tries to follow his teammate.
Well, that was a belting final lap. Where do we go with that? Steve's off down to catch a word with the race when Angel Piqueras for a 2nd time today. What a fantastic race that was. What a final lap. Piqueras a winner. The floodgates, maybe they have opened after all. We don't know. It's too early to say. It's 2 wins in one day. Piqueras, Ralston and Alvaro Carpe. I cannot wait to see how this is going to plan out, because he is going to be elated with this. Hopefully everything is all good this time. Of course, he's had this feeling before, back at Estoril when he took 3rd then and then had it taken off him. Oh, I'm just looking at the results. Massive shout out behind Carpe. Lunetta Duratuza are 4th and 5th. Eddie O'Shea, the British rider, Eddie O'Shea takes 6th place. Fantastic ride from Eddie O'Shea, up from 12th place on the grid. Adrian Cruces, who's had podiums before, he's up in 7th, a good ride. Marcos Ruda just falling a little bit at the end there, down to 8th, still nonetheless not a bad effort. Facundo Yambias in 9th, Noah Detweiler completes the top 10. It's a personal best result for, in 11th place, Shinya Ezawa. Carraro, I can tell you, remounted, and well, it could have been a podium, it possibly could have been a win. Instead, it's 12th. Leo Ramersdorfer is in 13th place. Kotaro Uchiumi is 14th, ahead of Torin Collins. That's the fairing of Nico Carraro. Surprised he carried on with that, I must admit. Looks a bit old school, doesn't it? Back in the 70s when we had the big fairings on the front of racing motorcycles. But he was calm earlier in his interview. I bet he's going to be jumping up and down with joy this time. Angel Piqueras has picked them off again at home. Great scenes down there, all captured, of course, for the team's memory. The Piqueras fan clubs are well happy. Second place, as I say, Jacob Rulston. That will be Jacob Rulston's first podium in the class as well. So top stuff there. The Australian, very, very solid effort. And I really think we can get ready to expect more to come from Rulston. He looks like he really has got now a good grip on this Junior GP Moto 3 machine. And third for Alvaro Carpe. Has he arrived yet, or is he arriving now? Because this could be a bit like, there he is. Alvaro Carpe, well, this time it is for him. The third place, that is a fantastic result for him. And, you know, he's got that potential. He had a kind of a steady year last year, flashes of brilliance as he adapted to Junior GP machinery, up from ETC, of course, but this time there were no questions. He's looked so good. What a ride, though, further back from Eddie O'Shea. He's not in the picture. He is down in 6th place, but up from where he qualified. Fine effort. A top 6 for the British talent team. Just waiting for the interview. Steve is already down there, ready and waiting. This is that last lap move again. Piqueras, there's no doubt, it shoves a door open, and then Bartolini goes as Carraro's trying to close it, and that is the only way you can sum that up. I don't think there'll be a penalty or anything for that. I mean, it's a racing incident, it's the last lap. You know, you never know. Alvaro Carpe signalling to the number 1 of Angel Piqueras. Piqueras has looked pretty stunning indeed. There's the fan club. They have come not that far, really. They're from Valencia, so they've only had to come up the road to see their man do a double. Piqueras, he has been so good for so long, and now he's got those wins to his name. Steve is down there with Piqueras. A double win at home. It doesn't get much better.
Piqueras, what a day. But talk us through the last lap here in the second race of the day.
Yeah, it was a crazy lap because I overtake 2 riders in one corner, and I'm really happy because I did P1 and P1. And now I have to be focused for Mugello and with the Red Bull Rookies Cup, and I'm very happy because I don't know, this feeling is amazing, and now I feel really confident with myself, and let's see Mugello. Bueno, estoy muy contento. La carrera ha sido, bueno, la última vuelta ha sido un poco de infarto porque he adelantado a 2 pilotos en una curva, pero bueno, estoy muy contento. El equipo ha hecho un trabajo muy bueno y ahora con la mirada puesta ya en Mugello, que tengo la siguiente prueba con la Red Bull Rookies Cup.
Great job today, Angel.
Thank you.
Well, where to start with this then? We had a false start earlier on, but eventually we got underway, and it was Angel Piqueras who grabbed the whole shot ahead of Luca Lunetta, and David Almanza was up there early doors, leading the way. Joel Esteban was in the mix too. Then the 23 of Elia Bartolini from 10th on the grid. He moved up into their podium positions. There was a moment for Esteban as he was pushed and shoved around. Jacob Rulston and his teammate Nico Carraro were coming into it, but Bartolini certainly wasn't taking any prisoners. Rulston hit the front, then we had this crash out, 6th place for Arbi Aditama, on for his career best finish. Rulston got it all wrong down in towards turn 8, somehow anchored it all up, latched back onto the back of the 5-man leading group, and was already back in the mix into 4th place, whilst teammate Joel Esteban hit the front. Rulston was ruthless in his way through to the finish and was making great passes. Back from 5th, he came up to the lead, and from then on looked really, really good. But Piqueras picked up his teammate, Joel Esteban, and then somehow Bartolini avoided Esteban, who had a mechanical failure on the front straight as he was buried in the slipstream. So lucky there wasn't anything worse there. And then there was some more friendly fire between the Aspar Junior team riders of Rulston and Carraro. Onto the last lap, Carraro came through, Rulston let the brakes off in towards turn 1, but it was Piqueras at turn 11 who got them both up the inside, and as he pushed Carraro wide, Carraro was skittled by an ambitious Elia Bartolini. That more or less sorted the race results out. Piqueras doubling up ahead of Jacob Rulston, who took a career first podium, as did an elated number 83 in the background, Alvaro Carpe. And this time, unlike at Estoril, Carpe does get to keep hold of the podium. No doubting the race winner though, Angel Piqueras, looking good for this 2023 Junior GP season. He had reason to celebrate. Will anyone stop him next time out? So, the podium ceremony then. A fantastic ride by your race winner. We'll get them in 3, 2, 1 order. Alvaro Carpe, massive cheer for Carpe, the Murcian rider, coming all the way up. 2nd place for Jacob Rulston, but Piqueras, well, where to start? Another win, a 2nd win in the day. Steve English is back with me now in commentary. He didn't really know, he didn't have many words to say. I think he's still settling into this new position on top of the box.
Yeah, but in the opening race today, very comfortable after it. This race, though, obviously a very different scrap, coming through 2 overtaking moves on the last lap, only half a lap from home, and really good performance from Piqueras once again. And this is what he's been doing in the Rookies Cup. He's been finding a way to win. He did that again today. And instantly attention turning to that Rookies Cup. Of course, they're at Mugello next time out alongside the MotoGP World Championship as Danny Holgado. Remember him? 2021 Moto3 Junior World Champion. And he's handed out the trophy there. And we all know who this is. Pedro Acosta. He's had a few wins here in this class, hasn't he, Steve? He's had a few wins in a few classes, and it's always good to see the riders come back into the paddock and give something back as well. And we've seen that all the way through today with different riders on the grid or offering the trophies there on the podium as well. 2 years of free internet, that'll be then, seeing as he got a year earlier on. So good stuff there from Angel Piqueras. Don't know where he's going to put all them checks. We're going to have the national anthem of Spain.
Ese aplauso para el equipo Estrella Galicia 0-0, para Álvaro Carpe, Jacob, Rulston y Ángel Piqueras.
So, racing done in Junior GP class for this weekend, the 2nd round. Photo time for your podium. Look at the smile on Jacob Rulston's face, the biggest smile in the paddock for sure. But nobody could get ahead of Angel Piqueras, no matter how hard they tried. He really is a start for the future. And of course, that team, the reigning champions, after Jose Antonio Rueda last time out as well in 2022. So do not be surprised if we see Piqueras move into a serious title threat. It's a long way to go. We've had 3 races of the 12 scheduled. Round 2 in the history books. Piqueras, Rulston and Carpe. A Honda, a Gasgas and a Husqvarna. Then it's a KTM, 4 different manufacturers inside the top 4 with Lanetta. Zura 2s are up to 5th. Eddie O'Shea for Great Britain takes 6th. Cruces, Ruda and Facundo Yambias completing the top 9. All separated by just 5.5 seconds. Switzerland's Noah Detweiler ahead of rookie Shinya Izawa. That's a best result for him. Nico Carraro, it's a story of what could have been in 12th. Ramastor, Uchi Umi and Collins. The Canadian Tormo Collins rounding out the points. Notable non-finishers. Elia Bartolini and Joel Esteban were in the fight for victory. Arbi Aditama was on for a top 6. Almanza, Morossi, Buchanan and Tachikor Boazri all going down in the same incident at turn 4 in the early part of this race. Thankfully, let's hope everyone's all right. But disaster if you're David Almanza. 3 races, no points. Talking of points, here they are. Angel Piqueras came into this round trailing Nico Carraro. He's now got over a race win's worth of points over Jacob Rulston, who is a surprise second place in the standings. Lanetta, Carraro, Esteban and Zura 2s are the top 6. Zura 2s are consistent. Carpe, O'Shea in 8th. Nelia Bartolini taking 9th. Jacob Rosenthaler, who's not been in action since qualifying yesterday. He's 10th after becoming the first Austrian on the podium in round 1 at Estoril. Cruces, Morossi, Buchanan, Boazri, Detweiler, Yambias and Ruda also scoring points throughout the course of 2023 thus far, ahead of Izawa, Ramastor, Uchi Umi, Aditama, he should have been on more, and Tormo Collins for Canada. Junior GP class action is done and dusted at Valencia. Plenty of reasons to be elated, with riders standing out, but no one quite as outstanding as Angel Piqueras. The floodgates, have they opened? It's too early to say, but a first win in race 1. He's doubled up at home. Race 2, a new star. Has one been born? Piqueras, the championship leader, after round 2 in 2023.